You need to maintain the state of your wish fulfilled. Now, this is a statement that is thrown around an awful lot across the law of assumption and manifestation community. But what if you struggle to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled? What do you do then? Does your manifestation just never come? Well, if these are the questions that you have, fear not, because this is the video for you, because I will be answering those questions and giving you clarity going forward to know that your manifestation is as good as yours and you're maintaining the state of the wish fulfilled in the correct way. So let's just jump straight into it to actually explain and break down what that sentence even means within itself, because some people don't even know what it means to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled. So working backwards, wish fulfilled. This is pretty straightforward. It's your wish fulfilled. It's whatever you desire to experience already actualized. So for example, let's say that you want a relationship with Deborah from the office. Your wish fulfilled would be being in a relationship with Deborah from the office. Or if you really want a job that pays £70,000 per year, your wish fulfilled is having a job that pays £70,000 per year. So wish fulfilled is pretty straightforward. Your wish fulfilled. But now onto the state of your wish fulfilled. Because states are something that I've heard quite a lot of people confused about. They're not quite sure what a state is or how to operate a state of their wish fulfilled. So let me explain what a state is first and foremost. Your state is your state of being. A state of being is essentially whatever you are aware of yourself being in that moment. Now, states fluctuate all throughout the day. As humans, we are constantly jumping from one thing to the other with our focus, and with the rise of social media, cheap dopamine and stuff like that, our attention spans are even smaller than they used to be. So because what we focus on and what we're aware of ourselves being is what affects our state is consistently changing all throughout the day. Now, you can actually operate the state of being something that you may not currently be. For example, let's say that averagely, I live paycheck to paycheck. I have just enough getting by, but it's not exactly a thriving lifestyle. When that paycheck comes in and I check my bank account, that's the most amount of money I'm going to have that month. So within that moment, I'm aware of myself being financially abundant, even if only temporarily. I am occupying the state of being financially abundant. I am aware of myself being financially abundant. But once we've paid all of our bills and we've kind of, spent more money on food than we should have done and silly things like that, and we check our bank account again, we will see that we don't have as much money spare, and maybe we need to sort of, calm it down a little bit with the spending. In those moments, we are in the state of lack, or in the state of not so great financial abundance, because we are aware of ourselves being not so abundant within that moment. So your state can fluctuate to things that you are and things that you aren't based on what you allow yourself to be aware of being. So when it says to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled, essentially all that is saying is maintain the awareness that you are currently that which you desire to be. You are currently aware of yourself being in the relationship with Deborah from the office, or having that £70,000 job. So when that's all that sentence is saying. It's basically asking you to take on the state of being, your persona, if you want another word for it, of being that which you desire to be. Now, maintaining the state. This is something that I know throws a lot of people off, myself included, when I was first introduced to the law of assumption, manifestation, and all those kinds of things. Now, I personally, and this is obviously personal preference, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Neville Goddard fanatics that are going to come at me with this, but I personally prefer to look at it as redirecting back to the state of the wish fulfilled. Now, the reason why I prefer to look at it like that way is because, like I said, our attention is constantly shifting. Now, yes, while you are doing certain things, you can hold in the back of your mind that you're something else. For example, let's say that I'm manifesting a relationship. While looking at money, I suppose I could look at it from the perspective of I'm a taken man while looking at my money, as opposed to I'm a single man while looking at my money. But generally speaking, most people aren't looking at things like that. Most people aren't just occupying in every given moment. the idea that they are something when that something isn't really the forefront of their mind, like that example I gave just then. If I'm looking at my bank account, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm a taken man looking at my £70,000. I'm thinking about it as in, I'm just looking at my £70,000. So this is why I prefer to look at it as the term of redirect back to, as opposed to maintain. Because maintain kind of gives this idea that you need to be in it all day, every day. And if you're not, you're going to fail or lose your manifestation or fuck up or something like that. Or at least that's how I viewed it, and that's how I kind of get the impression from a lot of people I speak to. So instead, redirecting back to, in my opinion, is a lot more manageable. Because when you notice that you're not occupying that state, maybe some negative thoughts come up about your desire, or you just find yourself thinking very neutrally, or you've got some spare time and you want to think about it. For example, in those moments, you can redirect back to. Let's say, for example, that I'm just walking home from the shop, nothing particular on my mind, but then all of a sudden my desire to be in a relationship with someone comes to mind. In that moment, I have the choice about how I think about this instance. Do I think about it as in, they're never going to want me? Do I think about it neutrally, i.e. just simply thinking about the person? Or do I think about the person as though they are in a relationship with me and my special lady? In that moment, you have the decision about where you take your state of being. Are you going to place yourself in the awareness of being someone that they don't want? Are you going to place yourself in the awareness of being someone that is just simply thinking about someone? Or are you going to place yourself within the awareness of being in the relationship with this person? Now, obviously, if you're wanting to manifest this person, the ideal way would be to redirect your focus back to the state of being of having the relationship with them. So, because you have now thought about this person, you can redirect back to being in the state of the wish fulfilled. And in those moments, you can dwell in it, you can enjoy it, you can visualize, affirm, act as if, whatever you want to do within those moments. But essentially what has happened is you have redirected your state of awareness back to being in the relationship with this person for however long that you want to do so. And then something else is going to catch your eye. You're going to finally arrive home, unlock the door, see you've got mail. Now that's your new focus. Now you don't necessarily need to maintain the state as in, I am a taken man with Deborah from the office reading my mail. Because that's not realistic. That's not how people operate on a day-to-day basis. So, when something else takes your attention, allow it to take your attention. Because your dominant state is what manifests. Now, let's say, for example, that walk home was the only 10 minutes that I thought about being with Deborah from the office out of the entire day. I get home, I check my mail, I'm now focusing on my mail. I'm not thinking negatively about my desire because my focus is on the mail. So within those moments, my manifestation, for want of a better term, is paused. But it's paused within the dominant state of positivity because that's what I was focusing on. And then when Deborah comes back to mind later on down the line, I can redirect back to being in the end state, further helping my manifestation. Maintaining your desire, in my opinion, or like the trying to maintain your desire, in my opinion, is one of the things that leads to extreme frustration. You hear maintain the state of the wish fulfilled, but you also hear things like let go of resistance, attachment, and all these kind of things. It creates a lot of confusion because maintaining something basically says be focused on it always, you're maintaining it, you're keeping it up. But then letting go of attachment and obsession and all these kind of things also implies you're letting go of it. And I think this is what creates the frustration because so many people, again, myself included at the beginning of my journeys, want to maintain it because that's what they're told, but because they're forcing themselves or trying so desperately hard to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled, they're becoming attached, they're becoming obsessed because they're focusing more now on trying to stay in that state, that not only are they becoming overly aware that they're not actually in their desire because they're trying to force themselves to be, but they're also frustrating themselves because they're feeling all of that resistance so much more because they're trying to force themselves to be within that state, to maintain that state. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say by any means that anyone that says maintain the state of the wish fulfilled is wrong, but this is how I view it and this is how I go about it. I redirect back to the state of the wish fulfilled when it comes to mind naturally, or when I have some spare time and just want to kind of quote unquote top myself up in the end state. And then when I'm focusing on something else, because it's perfectly natural and the human nature to focus on different things as they come up. This is why something like the train of thought is a terminology that we make use of, because your focus is going everywhere. I saw my cat and for a second I thought about my cat. I can see a lamp back there. For a second now I'm looking at the lamp. Things like that. Things take your attention. And that's fine because that's the way the human mind works. So make use of that like I do. When my desire comes to mind, or when I have some additional time to get stuff done, quote unquote, like the affirmations and such, I'll make use of it. I'll enjoy it. I'll really feel into it and have a great time doing so, redirecting back to that state of the wish fulfilled. But then when something does take my mind, or when I'm enjoying a TV show or spending time with friends and family, or whatever it is that has my attention in that moment, I'll let it have my attention. I won't be worried about trying to get my affirmations done. I won't be worried about, have I affirmed enough? I won't be worried about all of that. Because as long as I'm redirecting back to the end state whenever it comes to mind, or when I have some spare time, I am topping myself up and slowly tipping that balance towards the more dominant story, therefore allowing myself to have the moments to let my mind work the way it does, which is to focus on other things and enjoy those other things. And this, in my opinion, is what is maintaining the state of the wish fulfilled while letting go. Because letting go means letting go of the attachment, the need, the outcome dependency. It's so much easier to do all of those things when you look at it as redirecting back to the state of the wish fulfilled when it comes to mind, ensuring that in those moments it's more dominantly in the end story. And then when something else takes your attention, focusing on that something else. Because if I've, again, using that example earlier, if I've gone on a 10-minute walk and for that entire 10 minutes I've thought about Deborah from The Office, I'm now 10 minutes more dominant in the new story. Which means when I focus on something else, it's not all of a sudden resetting itself. It's not all of a sudden going more negative because I'm not focusing on my desire. If anything, it's like putting a pin in it. Now, obviously, that is a very simplified way of describing it, but hopefully that kind of gets you on board with what I'm talking about. But it's kind of like putting a pin in it until when your focus goes back to it, when you redirect yourself back to that state, you either then choose to focus on embodying the state of the wish fulfilled, therefore tipping that balance even further, or if you don't go about it the right way and you start to spiral or whatever it is, bringing that focus down. You're not damaging your desire by focusing on something else. If anything, depending on where you're at, you're benefiting it because you're allowing it to just flow and do what it's got to do while it's in the dominant state. So I really hope this video has helped. If it has, drop me a like and a comment just to let me know. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel because I drop 3 videos a week that all have amazing value that you can make use of. If any of you are in need of one-to-one coaching, I do have amazing services available. Down below in the comment section and the description, there is a Linktree link where you can find the links to my website where you can find those services. I also have a monthly membership which offers tons of additional value, including the gold membership tier, which offers a 10-minute call, which so many people are actually really genuinely enjoying, access to live streams, exclusive content, routines, worksheets, discounts, and tons of other stuff. So I highly recommend you go check those out, even just to see what you can get out of them. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you lovely people in the next one. Bye-bye.